Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. Guys, there is an interview that I've been wanting to do for a very long time now, and I now have the pleasure of actually getting to the podcast with this guy. With me guys today I have Kyle, right? So Kyle, how you doing, man?
I'm good in yourself, man.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for joining me on today's podcast, man. It's been something that I've been wanting to do at this point, as you know.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. And just to try and get a bit into the podcast. Kyle, as you were your journey, right, started as a high school teacher, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Your journey started as a high school teacher to a fantasy author, right? Writing coach and professional speaker, right? And now that I have to say, it's quite inspiring, right? So could you share what actually motivated you to transform from teaching to writing, right? How has your background in teaching and your from teaching and actually I think you are also you have a thing in biology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how have those things actually influenced your approach to writing and coaching?
So in 2013, I matriculated in 2013.
Okay.
And I went to UWC to start studying biology. So I don't have a teacher's degree.
Okay.
I went to go and study biology. Um, and I've since from 2013, I've got now my master's degree in biology. When I started my master's degree, um, I had a one of a principal called me up for me, asked me, they're looking for a quick replacement math teacher, like 2 days before the school started. And that's how I ended up as a teacher. So I've been
Okay.
teaching for the last 4 years with no teacher's degree. Um, just basically teaching because they know I'm good at maths, they know I'm good at these subjects. I've been teaching maths, geography, life science. They
Yeah.
know I'm good at these subjects. So they asked me to come and teach, and I've been there for like 4 years, and
Okay.
it's such a amazing experience, because obviously you're thrown into this world now where you have to learn how to teach what you know. You're thrown
Yeah.
into a world where you have to learn how to discipline children, um, how to understand children, how to work with parents, how the
Yeah.
school system works, how the education system works. So it's all of those things. So at that point in my life, it was I have this background knowledge in biology. My
Okay.
master's degree was on phylogenetics and parasitology. Then I'm doing this teaching, so I'm learning all of these new skills because for
Okay.
me, I took that as a learning experience. And then at the same time, I've been publishing books. So from 2013, that's when I started writing actually.
Okay.
And in 2013, I wrote this book, and I thought, oh, okay, this is the winner. This book is going to make me millions. Uh,
Yeah.
it's 11 years later. I'm not. There's no millions there. Um, but I kept pushing. So that first book got rejected by the publishers like 22 times.
Okay.
In 2015, I wrote my second book. Again, got rejected. 2017, I wrote my third book. Again, got rejected. And in 2019, I began writing my fourth book, called The Turlock Triangle.
Okay.
And I've been learning all these things, why I got rejected, how to make my writing better. Um, and one of the things I had to learn was the importance of actually planning out what you want to write. I was writing. I realized what I'm writing, there's a problem with it. So I deleted everything that I wrote up till then. I think it was about
Okay.
40,000 words. I deleted it,
Yeah.
rewrote everything so I started to plan first everything. These are the characters, these are the side characters, the main characters, the protagonists, the antagonists. These
Yeah.
are the scenes that I want, the chapters. This is the world I want to create. I drew a map. I planned out everything that I could. And after it was all planned out, Then I started rewriting, and that's the book that finally got published. That was
Okay.
published in 2020. And so from 2020 till now, I got now finally have 16 books published. Um, I have a good background in teaching. I have a love for biology, and
Yeah.
I've combined a lot of all of these things into my speaking career. I speak on building creativity. So if you want to build creativity in the workplace, if you want to build creativity in your schools, if you want to build creativity in your children, in your employees, wherever you want to build creativity, that's what I speak on. Um,
Okay.
because obviously to be a fantasy author, you have to be creative.
Yeah.
Um, So that's what I speak on. One of my goals is actually to get fantasy books into the primary schools,
Okay.
because from from the grade 4 onwards, there are no fantasy books in the primary schools, and I believe fantasy is one of those books, one of those types of books that actually builds your imagination, builds your creativity, and that will fix
Yeah.
so many problems that we actually have in the schools.
And that's true. That's true. I was actually about to ask you, why do you think that in grades going upwards there is no fantasy books?
I
I was
think so. Our government has the mindset of everything must be South African, which is good, which is
Yeah.
very good. But they don't actually practice it because in a lot because we're still learning things like Macbeth.
Yeah, I was actually
These are
yeah.
things that not actually these are not South African, but that's also not the problem. The problem is that we focus so much on cultural learning.
Okay.
Um, like if you go into the schools and you read the books, it's always about this boy from the who lives in the street, and you
Mhm.
you you exposing you're telling these children about what the things they already know, the boy that lives on the street and how he
Yeah.
overcame um the lady who went to the Sangoma, the river in the
Mhm.
Zambezi River, you know.
Yeah.
It's always cultural things where you're trying to teach the children about things they've already seen and how to overcome these things. But the problem with that is we are not showing children possibilities. The only possibility that they're seeing in these books is there's a boy in the street. He came out of the street and now he's not in the street anymore. That's basically what you're
Mm.
telling them. Things that they've already known. But when you introduce them to fantasy, now you're building that imagination of a world that is unknown to them. So now they start dreaming these things. They start dreaming things like, wow, if people can fly, maybe I can fly. So they start to
Yeah.
have a desire to fly, and now they search the skills. How do I fly? And they learn how to create airplanes. Um,
Yeah.
wow, look what this person did in this book. So they start building the desire. After they have the desire, they search for the skill set to make their desire. Now they become scientists. Now they
Okay.
become architects. Now they build buildings. Now they create technology. These are when you expose children to fantasy, it builds their imagination in such a way that they build their own dreams for things that originally seemed impossible to them, and now they're going to make it possible.
Okay. That is actually a very interesting way of putting it. And I have to say that is actually true, that is really true. Um the moment you don't allow people, or even kids, or even people, or any person for that matter, the moment you close that gap of them having to start dreaming about stuff,
Hmm.
that's when you lock away the creativity inside a person. and the
Exactly.
moment you and the moment you do that, that is it's actually something that you don't want. But they profit from that, so we can't actually, but that's a conversation for another day. So can you actually recall any specific moment or experiences in teaching, right? That might have significantly changed or shaped your writing style, or your themes, basically.
Writing styles, themes, not actually. there was a lot of moments in teaching that influenced the way I think about fantasy, and it influenced my speaking skill a lot, but not my writing skill. So
Okay.
when I was a teacher, I opened up a reading club because at that
Okay.
time it was COVID, so they closed down the library, for social distancing. But
Oh, okay.
when they reopened the library, um, it was when social distancing ended, they didn't reopen the library,
Yeah.
right? And they didn't want the children coming in there because they didn't have a librarian, and the children would steal books. Um,
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
I opened up the reading club so the children could come like on a certain interval. We'll discuss certain things. I'll take them out with me. So if I go speak at a literary festival, I'll take them out. We all went to the Franschhoek Literary Festival. And it was at
Okay.
that point where I saw these children have no experience with the outside world. So I taught in Hanover Park.
Okay.
For them going to Franschhoek was a new experience.
Mm,
Going to Simonstown was a new experience. Going to all the to a book launch was a new experience for them because it's not something that they're regularly exposed to. I
yeah.
taught life science, and when and in grade I taught grade 11 life science. In grade 10, those children hated life science. They hated the subject. The top student
Mm,
in the class got code threes, right? When they
okay.
came to grade 11, I had the responsibility of taking the marks up. And because I loved science, I love life science. I didn't understand why these children don't love the subject.
Mm,
So what I had to do was now I had to first, before I could actually get their marks up, I had to build a love for life science in them. So
okay.
that's basically what I do with when I speak. It's all about you first build a dream and desire for this thing before
Yeah.
you teach them any skill. You first build a dream and desire in these people because
Yeah.
that's what's gonna make them chase after the skills. So I had to start making them love life science first. So I would take them on hikes, nothing to do with the curriculum,
Yeah.
right? But I expose them to nature because that's what life science is. So I expose them to nature. I take them out on hikes. I take them on boat rides in the wetland. I take them to museum, to wherever they can, just to so they
Yeah.
learn about life science. Even if these things are not on the test, they're learning about life science and they're learning why it's so amazing. And that started to build the dreams and desires of these children. And in 1 year, life science went from their worst subject to their favorite subject, where a lot of
Okay.
them who've never gotten code sevens before, suddenly now they're getting code sevens. Those children would tell me, sir, before the exam starts, they start studying. They only start studying life science. They tell me straight, this is the only
Mm.
subject we study. The other subjects we study the night before. But for life science, we've been studying for the last 3 weeks because
Yeah.
it's something that they love studying. And if you want to do the same thing in your children, or if you want to do the same thing in your workplace for employees, the first thing you
Yeah.
have to do is you build in them a love for what they're actually doing, a love and a desire. Next thing you know, now they start researching and they start looking for skills that can make them better in the workplace. The same thing with your children. You build a love for them. They start wanting to learn these skills because you built that love in them. So as a teacher, that was something that I realized. And at the same time, I also realized the problems that we have in the WCD with regards to reading. I
Okay.
don't know if you saw that article that shows, I think it was about 30% of children can only read with comprehension. Um,
No.
I think that's 30% of grade three learners can read with comprehension. So the others are
Mm.
just remote reading. And I saw
Yeah.
it in the school where you have children, they come from the primary school with a code five in English. And then they come to grade eight and they can't read at all. They can't read words like they, that.
Mm.
You wonder, how did you get to grade eight and you can't read?
Yeah.
So I started realizing the flaws in the education system. So a lot of these things have influenced my speaking and that's why I speak on creativity, but not really my writing style, my themes.
Okay. And that's actually a very interesting approach. And also just to add to that, um, if even in sales, right? It's like that when you are selling to someone, you need to build the desire inside that person because
So true.
yeah, because now when people buy, people they don't they buy according you need to hit their emotions for them
Mm,
to because for them to be able to explain the purchase that they're going to be doing, it it needs to be you need to hit them emotionally, and then while you're hitting them emotionally, they will try to make the that emotion a lot they will try to make a logic out of that emotion, right? Yeah, so it in every in almost everything that we do, the desire is important, and you need to make people dream, right? Even in sales, you need to like for instance when you sell to someone, you need to be like, um this would look like this. Even if you're selling a house, when you're looking at a room, you be like, your children will look good in this room, or try to build that thing into them, right? So what you're saying is actually true, it's really really true. It's just a pity that not a lot of people are being exposed to that, because even myself, I was just thinking a few days ago, because as I mentioned to you that I'm actually coming that side, so and as I'm coming that side, I want to actually get what you call this, I want to just get an office, right? And now I was actually asking myself a lot of questions, such as, when I bring my team into this office, how can I make sure that when these guys are together, there won't be any clashes? These guys will be able to partner up together. These guys will be able, I, I need to try and make sure that when these guys are all together in this room, right, or in this office, they need to be able to partner up together. I need to make it something that they will enjoy even when they're home. It's something that they're thinking of, what can I do for that client?
mm,
So and I just kept on thinking, and I was like, these guys, if I do provide them with 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 training, right? I try to make sure that um a lot of the things that they do, I make sure that they get to love them. Even if I then say, let's say every Saturday I take these guys out, let's say to the beach or something like that, every Saturdays, just to try and build that connection
yeah.
between them, So that was actually something that I was actually thinking, and now that you're actually saying this, it just came to my mind. So it's actually true what you are saying, it's really true, and I just hope that um it's something that going forward is paid attention to,
Mm,
because it's something that is really, really important. So and then now you actually authored a wide range of books, as you've mentioned, some of them they didn't actually, but all in all,
yeah.
yeah. So now what would you say, or how do you actually balance your creative pursuit with the structured, how can I put this, with the structured demands, right, of coaching others? How do you actually balance that? And also, what are the unique challenges that you face when when you're helping when you're helping people? Let me just say, when you're helping people, right? What challenges do you face, and how do you turn them into successful books? I don't know if
Um,
you get that question. Or
yeah, so the with regards to getting like time and things to write,
yeah.
um, it's with books, it's always a tricky thing, and it's something that I always have a struggle with clients. So when
Okay.
I get onto like on a discovery call with them,
Okay.
a lot of clients would say, "Oh, I don't have the time." That's their number one. That is
Mm,
their number one excuse for why they haven't written. So the money is never a problem. It's always I don't have the time right now. I definitely want to write my book, but I'm
Yeah.
just so busy right now. That's always what they say. Um, and something I always tell them is you just need 1 hour every day. You just need 1 hour. So when I started writing, um, I was I was studying my master. I was studying for my degree.
Okay.
Um, so actually, let me give you this. In 2021, I had a goal to write and publish 10 books in 1 year. Right, that was my goal for 2021.
10
Um,
books.
yeah.
That's a
So
lot.
in 2021, what happened was I was teaching full time. Right, I
Okay.
was teaching full time. I had obviously my church responsibilities. I
Okay.
had my household responsibilities. I was doing my master's degree.
Okay.
Um, I'm a sensei at the ninjutsu school, so I teach people martial arts. So I have that
Okay.
responsibilities. I had so many responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
So what I would do is at a certain time, I would dedicate just that time to writing, and I had to decide, I have to give up something? So I gave up sleep. So, for example, so I get up at 6 a.m. to
Okay.
get ready for the school. And I get home at about 3:30, 4 o'clock around there. Right?
Okay.
From there, I would take my nap. I love that afternoon nap. I take an afternoon nap. Um, Either I'm spending time with my family after that, or I have ninjutsu practice.
Okay.
From there, I have prayer. And then at 10 o'clock from 2 a.m., from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m., I'm
Mm.
writing. That was my dedicated time to write. And I lost so much sleep because from 2 a.m. till 6 a.m., then that means I only have 4 hours to sleep. So I lost so much
Mm.
sleep in that year. And then I'd have to also find time. Sometimes I'd have to decide, okay, I can't write now. Now I have to focus on my thesis. So it was always
Okay.
a balance. But you have to understand that if you are going to write a book, it is going to be time consuming. And that's something that
Mm.
I always struggle with clients. I have to tell them it's going to be time consuming, but it's a sacrifice you must make to get this book out. So I had to do that for the whole year. And basically, I'm trying to put out a book every month because I wanted to write 10 books, right?
Okay.
Um, and my books are about, for in that year, it was about 60,000 words each. Um,
Okay.
so I try to push out 5,000 words a night so that I can get the book done in by maybe like 12 days. And then from
Yeah.
12 days, I just start editing and all those things. And then I still cover design and all these things and marketing. Um, so that was what I had to do. I didn't get to 10 books in the year. I got to 9 because I was exhausted by the end of the year. As you can imagine, I was
Yeah.
exhausted
And
by the end of the year because it was so much effort that I had to put in, it's so much sleep that I lost that I honestly, the last book I published 31st December because I
31st.
pushed to get that law. Yes, I pushed to get
Yeah.
that last book out. So I got managed to get 9 books out before the end of the year. Um, because of that, I have such now a big catalog.
Of
So
books.
so the creativity is never a problem because I've developed this quote that says your interests are what makes you interesting.
Okay.
Your interests are what makes you interesting. And you take those interests, and those interests become a part of your life. So I do martial arts. So in my books, there's always some form of martial arts.
Mm.
I love swords. In my books, there's always swords. I love biology. I love adventure. I love cryptic species. I love mythological creatures. All of those things are in my books. Um, I love father son bonds and mother son bonds and
Okay.
mentor teacher bonds. So those things are always in my
Oh, in
books.
your books.
Uh,
Okay.
I love mountains, those things. Or every interest of mine, I pour it into my writing. So
Okay.
creativity is never a problem because I'm an interesting person because of my interests. So
Okay.
creativity is not a problem. What I did have to learn was how to structure that creativity. So like I said, with the first book that I published, I had to learn. I actually need to structure. There's something that we call in writing. There's two types of writers. It is the gardener, the person who
Okay.
just writes, and then they have to come back and do a whole lot of pruning, editing, cutting, and all those things into their work to make it make sense. and then we have what is called the architect, the person who draws out the blueprint before they actually start building.
Oh, okay.
And I had
Okay.
to learn that I had to learn that I have to be more of an architect in my writing. So all those ideas that I have, I
To
first
build
have to
them up
write it out. I
first.
first draw a map. I first plan it out. Sometimes even while writing, then I'll stop writing, go back to the blueprint. I see there's a problem here, fix this, do this, and then go
Okay.
back to the writing. So you can always so the blueprint that you draw is something that you stick by, but it's just a guide. You can always let your creativity flow and get better on that.
Okay.
But that blueprint is an important guide because now because I have the blueprint, I don't ever get lost on where I want to go
Okay.
because I've already structured out what I want to do.
Okay. And that's actually amazing. That's actually amazing. And it's actually great to actually hear your story, the fact that you actually had a goal to write 10 books and you actually managed to write nine, which is something that is really amazing, man, that I really have to say, even that one book, that's why I think who was it? Oh, it was, do you know Tim?
Yes.
Tim, yeah, he was actually saying something which is um what what some people find what I find interesting. Some people might literally cry when they had to actually do it themselves, um and now it just came because we were talking about um the work that I do, right? He was saying that the work that I do, um some people wouldn't be able to handle it,
Mm.
right? And it's just a matter of them not finding it interesting, right? So and just to get to what you're saying, on my side, if, even that one book, it would have been something else, it would have been something else. So I think it is really amazing that she actually managed to write about nine books. That I really just have to say. And now, just a question, right? Now in terms of, let's say, writing a book, um let's say that would it make sense for someone to write a book through, let's say like for instance myself. um I'm not I wouldn't say I enjoy having to write down the whole book, but if I had to just do let's say a voice recording, right? And then I transcript it, right?
Mm.
Into words. Would would that make sense in terms of just writing the book?
So there's a technology called speech to text, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for people that have, let's say, a disability in their hands or they have arthritis or things
Mm,
and they can't type out, so they use
okay,
those kind of technologies. Um, but in that same way, when they use the technology, they have to be able to speak as they write. So they have to be very descriptive in the way that they talk. So
okay,
they will speak as if they are writing.
okay.
Um, and then after that, I think it's also still a lot of editing that has to be done because
Mm,
obviously if you make a problem while you're speaking, it's going to be a problem. But I haven't met anybody that does it. I know some editors who have worked with those people, and
okay.
they always say there's a lot of editing work to be done because of that. Um,
Yeah.
because it's you speaking. Obviously, as you speak, you make mistakes. Um, so there's a lot of editing that has to be done, but it is very possible to do that.
Okay.
For me, I don't personally like it. I feel like
Mm,
as soon as my fingers touch the keyboard, it just flows.
yeah.
Sometimes I don't even think while I'm writing. I just let it flow. Um, the only thing, like, because I already have the scene structured out, what I do is when I think, I just think of, okay, this is what I want for the scene. This is the end point. These are some important points that I want to be discussed, and then I let my fingers handle the rest. Um, you
Okay.
know, describing the scene. But you can, for
Yeah.
somebody who's not very good with typing, speech
Mm,
to text is definitely an alternative, as long as in your speech, you are very descriptive.
Oh, okay. Because I think do you know Grant Cardone, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He also he said he I think that yeah on one of his videos, but it was a long time ago. There was this book. I think it was the 10x thingy, 10x
Mm,
book, right? When he was writing that book, he was like he actually it took him about I think it was less than 24 hours, and I think he did it through his voice, right? Yeah, and then the book was turned into writing in that in a space of 24 hours he had that book was already in a lot of I think it was about 10 in 10 languages or even more than that. It was already in about 10 languages. The moment he said he was writing a book, people from different countries, different languages, they were like, they want to actually help him to make it this, and in 24 hours, the book was already done, right? So just and that's actually another reason why I was actually asking is it actually something that is possible to have it done through the because I think if even if on my side I were to actually write a book um what I would prefer would just be to speak through the instead of
yeah.
writing it down and all of that.
Yeah. Like for people like for with Grant, that's the power of already having a platform,
Okay.
right? So a lot of people, well, one thing I had to learn was when I published my first book, you think people are going to, be supportive.
Yeah.
Only people who's going to be supportive of you are those people you have already turned to fans by the value that you've given them.
True.
Um, so like when I had my first book launch, it was just friends and family that bought my books.
Okay.
You think that the whole world is going to celebrate you
Mm,
because you published a book. They won't. They might
I won't
ask you
even
things.
care.
They might talk. They might give you a like and a heart, but they won't buy your books. They
Yeah.
won't even press that share button, right? Um, so once you've published your book, the goal now is how do I build my platform? So, for example, for you, you have a platform with your podcast. So now, because
Yeah.
you've already built that platform, now you build your books on top of that platform.
Okay.
For Grant, he had his platform, so he wrote that book, and he built it on top, right?
Okay.
For me, when I started, I didn't have any sort of platform, so I had to start building my platform based off my books.
Okay.
And now I build the book coaching on top of that book platform that I've already built.
Mm,
Um, so once you've started, this is what I do. When I tell my coaching clients, I don't like to say I'm a writing coach. I like to say I'm a book coaching manager, because
oh, okay.
after you've published your book, that's when the real work begins. So I spent the last 4 years learning the different types of publishing that you have to do. There's traditional publishing, there's hybrid publishing, there's self-publishing. I think I spent
Mm,
over 100,000 rand in the last 4 years learning just trying to publish books in a way that is
mm,
good. Right? That doesn't even count the amount of money that I've spent on learning, on courses, um, on marketing, on ads, and I had to learn, okay, how do you set up your email marketing scheme? How do
yeah.
you write emails that can turn people from casual readers to super fans? How do you set up lead magnets and reader magnets? I'm hosting now a course on 3rd of July called how to um, how to get leads on autopilot using your book.
Okay.
Those are things that I've had to learn in these last 4 years. And that's something that I try to give to my coaching clients. So I tell them, because I usually do coaching, I do book coaching usually for coaches who want to write their own books for their coaching business.
Okay.
And I tell them, if you're gonna, let's say you're going to host you are going to host your book launch. You don't host it as a book launch. You host it as a free event where you give
Oh,
them
okay.
whatever you're coaching them, you give them a free event where you coach them. And at the
Yeah.
same time, you sell your books as an upsell, right? because the book that you are writing is not meant for you to actually sell the book. The book you are writing is for you to sell your coaching services. So let's say your coaching service costs $2,500. Um,
Yeah.
your book is only going to cost maybe $5. So
Okay.
which would you rather sell? The $2,500 business or the $5
Or the
book,
$5
right?
book.
So
Yeah.
you host it in a way where you're selling actually the coaching. But if they can't afford the coaching, they can always buy the $5 book,
Mm.
right? So that's a mindset that I try to give them. I tell them this is how we try to set up your technology. This is how you set up your mailing lists and all these things in a way
Yeah.
that first gets them that gets you subscribers. From there, it converts those subscribers to fans. From those fans, they're actually paying clients who's either paying for your service or they're paying for your book.
Mm.
How to use your book as a platform to get onto radios, TV stations, newspapers, podcasts. So I've been on TV 2, 3 times already in my life. I've been on
Mm.
the newspaper multiple times. I've had job offers and I've never had to apply for a job. It's
Mm.
because my books give me a platform. People love other people who have written books. It,
Yeah.
it well, once you've written a book, it sets you apart from the world because only 0.01% of the world has actually published a book, which means once you publish a book, you are in the top 99.9% of the
Yeah.
world who hasn't published a book. So you already stand out as somebody who is dedicated, somebody who's passionate about what they're doing, so passionate enough that you're
Yeah.
actually able to write a book. It tells people you are knowledgeable, you know what you doing. That's why you can write
Yeah.
about it. And it tells people you know how to communicate what you actually know. So when once somebody sees your book, they didn't read the book, but they saw you have a book. Automatically, they assume you the expert, and that's what I try to teach my coaching clients, that your book is not just a product. It's going to be a part of your business. It's going to be a
Yeah.
platform. It's going to be a tool for your coaching business.
Okay.
Sorry, I
That
got
that
put back in the day.
yeah, no. No problem. And thank you for sharing that, man. And yeah, the value that you've been dropping, it's absolutely amazing. And yeah, also to add to that, as you've mentioned that you first of all you mentioned that your book sometimes gets you to places that you wouldn't have gotten to, right? In a nutshell, basically, right? It gets you to places that you wouldn't have gotten to otherwise, right? Like for instance, jobs, they come to you because people look at you and they see that you as that person, right? So to what I'm actually trying to get to is that um sometimes if even on my side, right? In terms of actually writing a book, since I've been speaking to you along with other guys, like for instance like Ian and Mary and all of those people, it's something that has just kept on playing on my mind, and I'm actually even thinking of it, you know at least I'm still on the thinking phase of it.
You must take it serious.
Maybe I might actually just, that's why I was actually asking you, your it, does it make sense to actually just record it and then turn it into a, yeah. So I think it's something that, oh, let me just put it like this. Do you think it's something that people should do to write a book?
They definitely should do so. Um, Let me give you an example or scenario. Let's say
Okay.
you have two cricket coaches, people
Yeah.
who you wouldn't actually suspect you actually want to write a book, but you have two cricket coaches, both with good resumes, right? Both who have taught. But now you have the one who has written a book called um, 101 Best Cricket Coaching Practices, right?
Mm.
And you're looking to hire a cricket coach to coach, I don't know, the Proteas,
Yeah.
right? Who are you going to choose? Are you going to choose um, the other one, or are you going to choose the one who has written a book that has shown you they're passionate about this thing and they have
Yeah.
all their knowledge already written down. So both of them hand you a resume, but this one hands you a resume with a book also. In any professional sense, let's say you're a
Yeah.
teacher, right? And you write a book about um, teaching practices or how to teach math better, all those things. Next thing you know, WCD is contacting you, asking you, would you not like to come and teach other teachers about this? Because we've
Yeah.
seen you are passionate enough about it, you're knowledgeable enough about it.
To
It
write a
if
book.
you believe you're an expert in your field and you believe you're passionate about this in your field, write a book because it
Mm,
automatically puts you as the expert in the field. Because in this world, there's so many people with degrees nowadays. There's so
exactly,
many
man.
people with businesses. There's so much people with a resume. Everybody has a business card. Not everybody
Yeah.
has the book, right? So once you have that book, it automatically puts you in people's face as the go-to expert of this thing. So I wrote a book called Your Book Business Card. Your book is better than a business card.
Yeah.
That book is free on Amazon for anybody. Um, and it goes through 20 reasons why you should write a book instead of just having a business card. And
Okay.
and there's so much things you can actually do. Your book, your book serves as an upsell. Your book serves as a better way to introduce yourself to people. Your book builds fans better than a business card does. I spoke at
Mm,
Comic Con Cape Town 2023, um,
okay.
and I sold a lot of my books, and I gave out a lot of business cards to those people who didn't want to buy books.
Okay.
Um, the people that contacted me wasn't the people who had the business
The
card.
business
The
card.
people who contacted me was those who bought the books, read it, and loved it. Because in my
Mm.
book, I convert them to a fan, right? So those are the
Oh,
things
okay.
that your business card won't convert anybody to a fan. The
True.
only reason why your business card works is if somebody has already been looking for you. So let's say your business card says podcaster, right?
Yeah.
The only reason I will contact you is if I'm looking for a podcaster,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But if you have a book that maybe says 101 ways of hosting a podcast or why your podcast matters, or right now I'm
Yeah.
reading this thing and you have now the material to convince me that I need you. It's not that I've been looking
Yeah.
for you, you convince me that I need you. And so that's what your book does. It turns people into fans of you because they've seen what you can actually do. So
Okay.
instead of me giving a resume, now I just give you my book. And my book tells you everything that you need to know about me. And
Yeah.
that's why everyone should actually have a book. If you
Okay.
consider yourself a professional and expert, write a book.
Write a book. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing that. I'm actually looking at the time now. It's we have about 4 minutes at this point. Let me just try and ask you a few questions that I will be able to. So as a professional speaker, you cover diverse um topics, right? Such as aggressive goal settings, right? Finding courage and adventure storytelling, right? As you've mentioned. So how do these themes actually connect with your work as an author and a coach, right? And also, can you provide an example of how one of your keynotes have made an impact in on an audience or a client, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So with aggressive goal setting and with the courage and adventure. So I did a walk from Mitchell's Plain to Sierras. That's
Okay.
120 kilometers, 2 days. It was just me and my dog. Um, I slept in the bathroom of an engine garage.
Uh,
Um, by the time I got to the end, my muscles were sore. It was in pain. Um, I couldn't walk after that. But the reason why I did it was just because I like doing it. That was the only
mm,
reason I wanted to. Um, but when I posted that video got over 250,000 views on Facebook.
okay.
And the reason why it got so many views is because people love other people who are courageous enough to follow a dream of theirs
Yeah.
with, without having to wait for somebody else to do it with them. So a lot of people will say, wow, you could have invited me. I would have loved to do it. Go do it yourself. You don't need to always have somebody doing things for you.
Yeah.
So when I speak to crowds, so the with the courageous goal setting and those things, I usually speak at schools because I always tell these children, you don't need to have crowd mentality where your friend always needs to do these things with you.
Okay.
Find a goal, something you've always wanted to do, and do it yourself. Don't wait for nobody because people love people enough who have the courage to do things alone. That's what sets somebody, that's what sets you apart from the rest of the world.
Mm.
Everybody's waiting for their friend to join me. Oh, I want to do this, but somebody must come with me. You
Yeah.
know, but if you're the one who has the courage to go up on that stage and sing by yourself, perfect. If you are the one who has the courage to go and start that program by alone, you the guy, and you
Yeah.
learn so much in that experience. So that's something that I teach people when I speak. You need to have the courage to set an aggressive goal and then
Yeah.
follow that goal on your own. Doesn't matter if nobody's with you. When I wrote my 9 books in that 1 year, it was me sitting alone at night writing. That's why people
Yeah.
love it. I don't have to
And
sit with people.
okay. And there wasn't anyone that was basically they assisting you and all of that, and
Yeah,
you did that alone. So yeah, I hope I didn't catch you there.
I don't know.
Okay. So it's actually very courageous because you actually shared that you had you walked, right, for you said for 2 days, right, with your dog,
Today.
you know and now me having to think about that, I'm like, this was actually something that was very courageous, and to a point to a um on my side, I probably would have done it, but uh, you know I would have had a lot of um I would have been asking myself a lot of questions. Should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? What if I do this and this happens? And all of those questions. And the mere fact that you actually did it and you actually succeeded. Never mind the fact that you couldn't walk, but you actually did it, which is something that is amazing. So now I actually understand you in terms of courage. You are talking about something that you actually know, right? Um, which is, of course, it actually shows Uguti, what you're talking about. You aren't one of those people that say you should jump the bridge. You are gonna still stand still when you haven't done it. You've done what
Mm.
you're talking about. So yeah. And then also now in on now just an insight on the publishing side, right? So you've experienced the traditional publishing, right? Um, and the soft it's the soft publishing, right? And the hybrid,
Self-publishing.
yeah, and then the hybrid publishing, right?
Yeah.
So what are the key lessons that you've learned about the publishing industry, and also what advice would you give to aspiring authors to consider when actually considering the what you call this, their publishing options? What would you basically um
If if you don't have any money, traditional is the way to go. That's what I did in the beginning. So I was a student at the time. I had no money, but I wanted to publish a book. So if you do traditional publishing, they take all the costs, so they pay for everything,
okay,
but you only get 30% of the royalties. The only problem
30%?
with them is 30%. So
Yeah.
you get the 30% royalty, or sometimes even less. Um, so let's say the book prints for 200 and they sell the book for
Mm,
60 rand. You only get 30% of the 60 rand. So you get a 60 of that, the profit is 60,
mm,
you get 30% of that. So you don't get a lot of that. Plus, they don't do a lot of work with marketing. So if you want to actually make a lot, you still have to put a lot of effort into marketing. So one of the things I realized with the traditional publishing was I had still had to do a lot of the work myself. I didn't
mm.
pay for anything, but I still had to do a lot of the work myself. That's why I actually bought the rights back to my book.
Okay.
With hybrid publishing, Nothing wrong with hybrid publishing if you have the money. So with hybrid
Okay.
publishing, it's basically you paying for the book to be published. So somebody's publishing the book, but you get all the royalties, you get all the
Okay.
rights, everything is still yours. You're just paying for somebody else to do it. So if you have the
Oh,
money, it's a
okay.
great way to go. That's what I did. At the time, I had a budget, so it was, for me, it was expensive to
Mm,
do it. Um, but I did it to have the experience of it, and the book came out amazing.
yeah.
With self-publishing, you have a lot more control over time, and you have a lot of control over who does your cover design, who does your editing. You decide all of those things, how you want
Okay.
your book printed. Every decision is your own decision,
Okay.
right? You decide who to outsource it, but every price, every cost is also your cost. So you can negotiate with prices, but just understand as you negotiate, you're negotiating with quality also.
Okay.
So if you want to have more control, if you want to have more control, then self-publishing is the best. If money
Oh,
is not
okay.
an option, hybrid is the best. And if money is a option, if money is a the limiting factor, traditional publishing is the best for you.
Okay. That's thank you very much for sharing that. I actually there is someone that I'm actually going to invite into to the podcast. She actually owns one of the biggest publishing companies. I'm not sure when we're going to be having the interview with her, but probably this month, you know. So otherwise, thank you for sharing that. It's just a thought that I just had in my mind. But I'm actually I've been getting a lot of calls. I'm supposed to get on a on an on another episode on another podcast interview with someone. So
You're
I've
fully
been
booked.
getting yeah. So yeah, I'm actually fully booked. You know, so I have to actually get to that. So just to try and cut it short. And definitely, I would love to have another podcast interview with you, and of which on that one we could try and open up a bit space because
Yeah.
from what I've noticed, we definitely don't need an hour, the two of us, you
Yeah,
know.
more time is necessary.
Yeah, but where can people find you on social medias? Where can they
Uh,
actually find you?
So my social media is very general. So Facebook, Kyle Jantjies author.
Yeah.
Instagram, Kyle Jantjies author. Website, www.kylejantjiesauthor.com.
Okay.
LinkedIn, Kyle Jantjies author. So for all my social media, any TikTok, Kyle Jantjies author. Um, any of the social medias, just look for Kyle Jantjies author. You'll know
Okay.
exactly where that's because that's my brand author.
Yeah. Okay. And then where can they find your books?
If you want my books, you can search mainly on Amazon Kindle. All my books are hosted on Amazon Kindle. Um, one of my books are in the stores, exclusive books, bargain books, words with books. It is the book one of my series, Journey of Soul, The
Mm,
Search for Power, that is in the bookstores. Not in every bookstore, so you'll have to ask them for copies. If they have copies, if
okay.
they don't have copies, you'll ask them just to order in.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for sharing that. And I will also be leaving the links down below, right? And you also mentioned that you have been teaching some of your clients ways to get them to convert people and all of that.
Yeah,
Have you tried out the is this one software? It's called Go High Level. Have you tried out that software?
I've heard of it. I haven't tried it out.
Mm. You should try it out, man. You should check it out. I will actually send it to you, but you should check it out. And probably if you do like it, I might even help you set it up. But yeah, you should definitely check it out. It's something. It's one software that I would recommend because you can literally automate it. When people go to your website, they find your book, they buy it. You automate what happens after that. You can
Mm.
either put them on a funnel and all of that, you know. So yeah, I think I'll just talk to you about that later on. But it's just a thought that I had, so I was like, let me just tell you about it
I'll check
before I
it out.
forget about it. Yeah, but thank you very much, man, for being on the podcast. I hope to have another interview with you very soon, actually. You know. So
Likewise, man.
yeah, man. Thank you very much. Thanks, man.
I love your mindset.
Thank you very much. Thanks, and same here.